What's up everyone, V here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Marvel Legends Spider-Gwen from Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Spoiler alert, by the way, I will be talking about the movie a bit. Like I do a little review before doing the figures, because I don't feel like making a whole review. So yeah, spoiler alert, you're warned. I might drop some details you might not want to hear if you haven't seen the movie. Anyway, there's your warning. Here are my thoughts on the film real quick. I was kind of disappointed, not gonna lie. I went into it expecting it to be as good, if not better, than Into the Spider-Verse, which I think is a phenomenal film. One of the best comic book films of all time. That's a solid 10 out of 10 movie. And people were saying Across the Spider-Verse was better. But not gonna lie, I don't really see it. This is definitely a hot take, because I know a lot of people are saying this movie's a masterpiece, and I just don't see it. For 2.5 hours, it didn't really feel like a whole lot happened. I feel like you really could have shaved down the first hour. I was most hyped for 2099. He doesn't even really appear till like halfway through the film. And I really thought he would have done more. I don't know. He did a lot, but like, I don't know. It felt like it was going to be so big and bombastic. And I don't know. It wasn't as good as the first one. I feel like it didn't have the charm of the first one either. Like, yeah, there were jokes, but I felt like it just had this super serious, mature tone. And I don't know, it didn't feel as good as the last one. And I do gotta say, I know the ending was rough and it's a part one, but like, it felt like just the first half of a movie, not like a part one, part two movie. Like Infinity War, Endgame, those part one, part two, but they're their own movie on their own. Infinity War ends with a cliffhanger, but still comes to a conclusion. Spider-Verse really didn't. It just ended when it started to finally build up and ramp up tension for me. So I was a little disappointed. But to be fair, maybe I need to see it again. I mean, Iron Man 3, one of my favorite MCU movies of all time. Favorite Iron Man movie. I came out the theater hating it. And after more rewatches, I enjoyed it. And I'm assuming that's what's going to happen with this movie. But right out the theater, I was honestly disappointed. But what I wasn't disappointed by was Gwen, because I think they did her beautifully in this movie. There's a bigger focus on her character, especially in the beginning, with an opening scene dedicated to her. And although I feel like I do understand what the whole audio problem was, it's a little hard to understand some scenes, especially in the drumming scene. And I feel like the audio was very quiet in the movie. It didn't have that big, bombastic movie feel. But there is a newer one that's out, so I might try to see it again. Water. But yeah, I think they did Gwen really well. She's really interesting and engaging character in this film, and I think she's one of the highlights. That and 2099. He didn't appear much, but he was peak. Yeah, Gwen was just definitely a solid highlight. I think they did her really well. And yeah, this figure is interesting. It's got some quirks. It's not as quirky as 2099. Go check out that video, by the way. But it has its things. So first off, looking at the box, it's the same. Number one, it's a carded thingy, and it's the exact same as 2099. They all have the same thing. The only difference is the name, the size of the bubble, and the back. Wish it might have been more like the carded ones for the like animated Spider-Man series, to where they have like unique stuff, but still. Marvel Legends, Spider-Gwen, little thingy here. Although, do they ever call her Spider-Gwen in the movie? I don't know. Hasbro, got the portal thing here. Got a nice shot of Miles, Gwen, and Miguel there. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, even though it's not Part 1. It's just Across the Spider-Verse. Next one's Beyond. 4+ on the back. I got it at GameStop, ain't that crazy? Yeah, I can't find any of the Spider-Verse figures besides Spot and Jessica Drew. And I did say if Jessica Drew was a dope character in the movie, I'd buy the figure. I'm not buying the figure. I'm not buying the figure of Cyborg Spider-Woman. But on the back you got Spider-Punk, The Spot, I have him. We'll be doing a review on him later. Peter B. Parker, 2099, Miles and Gwen. Then you got a promo shot of Gwen, which is interesting. I'll bring why this is interesting later. And Spider-Gwen at the top. So yeah. For her accessories, she comes with some alternative hands. On her in the package, this is how she looks in the package. She has one fisted hand and one thwipping hand. They do not give her alternates of the fist and thwip. Like, these are the only fist and thwip hands. And it's kind of annoying because I do like to have the fist on this side and the thwip on this side, but I can live with it. Yeah, and then she comes with, get in focus, some open hands for, like, wall crawling and all that. And I like how the fingers aren't exactly the same. They're, like, got different positions, which is nice. And the paint is pretty solid on them. They look pretty good. Honestly, I don't care. Like, some people desperately need a bunch of alternative hands on Spideys. They're cool, but I never use them. I just keep the figure like this. I'll probably keep the figure like this the rest of her existence. That's kind of how I always do. Like the Scarlet Spider, he's had these two hands on him since the day I got him. Back in, like, 2015, 2016, whenever I got him. And I've never put any of his other hands on him. But yeah. Now, for her next and final accessory. This might be the worst alternative head I've ever had on a Marvel Legends figure. Now, most of the time, alternative heads are awesome. Got unmasked heads, some cool different things. Sometimes the likeness might be dodgy, like the Drake Black Panther. Go check out that video if you want to know more. But this one, this is atrocious. She comes with a masked head. This is the worst alternative head I've ever had on a figure. It is awful. Number one, look-wise, it's not that good because it has squinted eyes. Like, why does it have squinted eyes? Like, I hate when they, like, give, like, very expressionative, like, faces for some figures. Because it's like, it's cool if you do this if you give the normal head as an accessory as well, but they didn't. You just stuck with the squinted eyes, and it doesn't look that great. Like the basic figure, it did it so much better. Like, what the hell? But yeah, and the webbing on the inside is painted really well. But another thing, it does not look good on the figure. Because, like, taking that off, like, hood piece and the head, I almost broke the head joint because of this. Because, like, it goes on, and you put it on, and it looks so awkward sitting up there. It looks like it's not all the way down. Like, you can see, like, the joint and everything. And when you try to turn it, it turns the neck joint before it turns on the ball joint. So it literally almost ripped the head off, which is crazy. So my plan was, I bought the basic figure. I'm going to try to take the heads out and swap them inside the hood. But yeah, it's crazy how bad it is. Like, why couldn't... This is the one time I legitimately would be alright if they just reused the old head from the Spider-Gwen that they previously released. Like, that would have been the one time I would have been really okay with them reusing old parts. Because this is a completely brand new figure from the original Spider-Gwen. But, like, yeah, it's... that accessory is rough. But this, on its own, is actually a really solid figure. Unlike Miguel, who I did customize to remove the cape, she is nowhere near as flawed as him. He's still cool, and I'm enjoying him more without that web cape. But there is a glaring issue. Take a look at her chest. Notice anything about her chest? Let me bring that basic figure in again. Notice anything? Let me bring in that promo art shot of her on the box. Notice anything? The white little diamond thing is super small. Why? Like, it should not be that small. Like, look at the basic figure. It goes, like, all the way out to here. That's how far out it should go, but it's, like, super small, and I don't get why. The 3D render has it correct. The basic figure has it correct. The box art has it correct. The previous Gwens had it correct. It's not like they drastically changed the chest design. I mean, in honest opinion, I didn't even know they changed the design until I got the basic figure, and I was like, oh, wait. It used to be in there, not at the bottom. But yeah, it's like, it's strange why that's painted wrong. I mean, I think the black is painted on here, so you could probably maybe, like, take something and try to correct it by removing some of the paint, but it's like, it's strange because besides that, this is actually a really solid figure. Again, the figure arts is probably better, more articulation, it does have that nice looking texture and better heads. But still, for like a cheap Gwen, this is actually pretty solid. Yeah, the paint is a bit like fuzzy and misaligned on the back, but that's just on my copy. But the hood covers it up pretty well. But yeah, ignoring that, getting into this head sculpt, this head is phenomenal. Like, this is literally Gwen from this movie. Like, the sculpt is perfect, the paint is perfect, it looks phenomenal. She's got her little piercings above her eye. Looks really good. The shaved head right there. And the hair sculpt is pretty solid. Got a nice little animated look to it. And you got like the pink, like dyed parts at the end, which looks really good. I love the look of Gwen in the Spider-Verse movies. She's got such a vibe, you know. It would have been cool if they gave her like drumsticks or something, because she is like a drummer, which is pretty dope. But yeah, and ignoring it, the paint apps, it is sculpted pretty well. There's not really sculpt on her. It's just all smooth. You got the black is straight matte, but the white is a bit glossy. And here's the hood thing there. Didn't paint it on the inside, but honestly, that's alright. You don't really see anything. Yeah. The body looks really good. There's nothing really to talk about. It's pretty just bland. Got the white painted pretty well there. A little misaligned there, but it's alright. Coming on to the back, absolutely nothing. Then come down to her ass. Nowhere near as caked up as our boy 2099. Look at that ass and tell me that's not the best ass you've ever seen on an action figure. Tobey is close. The Tobey Maguire figure, he is pretty caked up. And by the way, I will be reviewing that 3-pack soon. Really hyped. Like, Gwen wishes she had the ass of Miguel O'Hara. He is packing for absolutely no reason. Why'd they make him so caked? He's even more caked up in the film! Also, 2099 highlight of the film as well. Brief moments he appeared were phenomenal. Just wish he appeared more, but he probably will appear a lot in the new movie. But yeah, it's like, why is he so caked up? But yeah, coming to the arms, they're really, really thin, but they don't scare me. Like, doing this, it's not terrifying. I'm more terrified to do this on the Spot figure than on this figure. And this figure proves that every female figure in the future, if they don't have double jointed elbows, they're being lazy, because this is paper thin and she still has double jointed elbows. But yeah, then come down to her forearms and it has that nice web pattern there. It's not the cleanest, I will say. I think the basic figure, once again, did the painting a bit better. Like, this basic figure is, not gonna lie, really solid. But yeah, it is a bit cleaner on this side. This hand is sculpted a little strangely, in my opinion, but it's still alright. And then you got the thwipping hand, which looks really good. Coming down to the legs, there's absolutely nothing to talk about. They're legs, it's just matte black. They come down to her, like, what are they, like, Converse shoes or something? Why is Gwen going into battle wearing, like, these bland shoes? Like, the only Spider-Man that'd be going out in shoes like these. But the paint is really well done, the nice line work, the laces are painted really well. And yeah, that's about it. There's not much to talk about with her. She doesn't have nearly as many problems as Mr. Miguel. I still enjoy the figure. I feel like I was really bashing it in that review, but I enjoy it. The figure arts is going to be better, though. But yeah, articulation-wise, she has a ball hinge at the head. Looks pretty far down for having the hair in the way. Doesn't really look up, though. Rotates, kind of bobs. I'm not putting the mast head on, because whenever I turn it, I'm afraid I'm going to break it. So yeah. Arm moves out pretty far. Like, I only moved it up that far, so I didn't even know it was up this far until I did the first take of this video, which I didn't care for. Can you tell I did this video already? Anyway, rotation up here, double jointed elbow, which goes up really far, really solid. Hinge joint, rotation on both hands. Does not really move that far forward for the diaphragm joint, but moves pretty far back. Rotates and bobs pretty well. Legs kick that far forward, don't kick really that far back at all because of her ass. Does the splits there, thigh rotation, really solid double jointed knee. Her legs are really thin down here, but she does have an up and down and a rocker. So her articulation's solid, but if you really want an insanely articulated Spider-Gwen, just get the figure arts. The figure arts, I doubt, has the problems this one has. I wouldn't know, but I will probably buy them because they just look really great. But as it stands, this figure is still not bad. For comparisons, here she is next to Moon Knight. She is really small. And for like a Voyager class Transformers and Black Series view, here she is next Shockwave and Mr. Clone Boy. Again, pretty small, and she's going to be even smaller when you compare them to a 7-inch McFarlane DC and a Jazzwares Halo figure. Yeah. And for some Spidey comparisons, and just that, well, not really Spidey, this one's not Spidey, but here she is next to another Haley Steinfeld, because of course she's voiced by Haley Steinfeld, and realistically they could be together because she's animated, and the animation can go in the live-action universe, as we've seen in the movie. Also heard that Haley Steinfeld might play a live-action Gwen, and I'm so here for it. But yeah, because again, love Haley Steinfeld, and loved Gwen in this movie, and I would love to see more of her. And here she is next to a Spidey that was close to a Gwen, the Garf. Such a great figure. This figure's good, but when you put them next to each other, this is such a top-tier figure, it makes this one look bad. We'll be reviewing this soon. And for some Spider-Verse, here she is next to the basic figure of Gwen and Miguel. She might be off, like not centered on screen, I don't care. She's really tough to stand, as I've learned in this video. So yeah, we're just gonna suck it up. Here she is next to Spot. Phenomenal figure, I might add. We'll be reviewing him soon. And finally, here she is next to Miguel and Scarlet Spider. They look great together. So yeah, do I recommend this figure? Yeah, it's honestly not as bad. Like, it's a little disappointing with the mask and the paint on some parts, but honestly, as like a feel, it feels pretty it's a pretty fun figure to mess with. Like, I've been putting her in fun Spidey poses, and it's honestly not too bad. Again, that I'll try to do a custom with the mask where I like swap the heads out of here and put the other head in the hood. But as it stands, it's a pretty solid figure. I'm gonna be honest, I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. Again, the figure arts is probably miles better, but still. Honestly, I do recommend it. Check out my previous reviews, like, subscribe, check out my Instagram, MoonEdXO. Can get little sneak peeks on upcoming reviews and see my art and just talk to me there. And Always remember, don't interrupt your canon event because Miguel will come bashing through that door, freaking cut a hole through reality, and just beat your ass. Peace.